opportunity, we do it for you. And so I want to be hearing from you. I'm going to put these cards right here, and our contact information is there. So take one and let me keep up with you. And I want to spend a few minutes today talking about you, and just let's talk a little bit about leadership, because we can have great ideas. How many of you have ever had a great idea? You've been listening to the news, you've been listening to some situation that was out there, and you've said, if they would only do whatever, it would say, yeah, I see that. You know, you think, yes, this would not be this difficult. And so this is why those good ideas are needed. You know, it's a great time right now for entrepreneurial politics. And that means you need to exercise that leadership. And every one of you have leadership skills. So let's look at a couple of concepts. Number one, leadership is a transferable commodity. And the leadership skills that you are developing, being in organizations, being in clubs, as you go on through life, and maybe, I think our vice presidential nominee is a great example of this. She's been a PTA president, she's been on the city council, the mayor, and now the governor. And so this is important. This is important to have a wide and diverse group of experience that you are bringing to the public sector. And women do that very, very well. Quick little story. When I was running for Congress, I was out campaigning, and I was in rural West Tennessee, down near Memphis, on a town square, walked into the diner, crusty guy sitting there. I walked over to him and I said, "Hi there, sir, I'm State Senator Marsha Blackburn, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives. I would appreciate your vote." And I handed him my push card, you know, my card with all my information on it. So he took it and turned it over in his hand, he looked at it, and he looked up at me and he said, "Little lady, what qualifies you to run for the U.S. House of Representatives?" And I looked back at him and I said, "Well, you know what? I've been the 3-year-old choir director, the room mother chairman, and the Girl Scout cookie mom. And if you can handle those jobs, you can handle the U.S. House of Representatives." And you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? And because you are building those experiences from real life, day-to-day experiences that allow you to move forward with confidence. So I want to encourage you all to remember that leadership skills are a transferable commodity, and for most women, we don't work a traditional corporate career path like men will. We take time off for children, we may change industries, we may change jobs maybe 7 times in the course of our career. So it's important for us to realize we're going to always be learning new skills. We repackage those and we take them with us to new endeavors. We don't have to go back and start over at zero. We just kind of transfer those skills along the way. Second thing, leadership is not as it appears, it's as it performs. And you can assign a title, and I hope you all will remember this. You can assign a title, but you cannot assign action. Action is something you have to do. And what the American people are hungry for right now is action. They want people to solve problems, whether it's the problem of taxes, of energy, bureaucracies that don't work. They want to see some action and answers to problems. So leadership is not as it appears, it is as it performs. A couple of weeks ago, I was up in Alaska, and up in Anwar, and we were waiting for the fog to lift. I was talking to someone there in Barrow, Alaska, and talking about the people that were there, and she said, "You know, we've got great leaders here. They're not leaders in the vein that you all in Washington think about leaders." And I said, "But what kind of leaders are they?" And she said, "Well, you know, they're the kind of throw on the parka, pull on the gloves, and get out there, and if something needs to be done, they just do it. They just take charge, and they just get it done." And I said, "Well, it's kind of like Larry the Cable Guy then, just get her done." And she said, "Right." And that's what people want, is someone who is going to get in there and take action. Women are very, very good at that. Margaret Thatcher said it well. If you want something said, Ask a man. You want something done? Ask a woman. The other thing is that I want to encourage you in is leaders raise up other leaders. And I do think this is very important. Leaders want a deep bench behind them. So as you are learning, you learn better when you teach. You learn better when you mentor. So I encourage you to be pulling someone along with you as you move onto the leadership track and as you take your position in teaching and training others. In 2003, I was in Missouri, Iraq, doing a meeting at a women's center. This was in October of 2003. And it was so interesting. The interpreter, I was talking, the interpreter was talking, we got to the word mentor. And there was not a word in their language that was a direct translation for that. And it required us to talk about the concept of how it's more than a teacher, it's more than a trainer, it's somebody that commits to walk with you and to help you become the very best person that you can be. So I encourage you to pull someone along with you and move them along that path of leadership. With that, let me end my remarks and hear from you and take your questions until they get out the hook and pull me off here and take the microphone out of my hands. So any questions here in the group? Yes, ma'am.
Are there particular issues that you really try to bring to the table?
Are there specific issues that I try to bring to the table in Congress? Absolutely, that there are. And good issues. I'm on Energy and Commerce Committee, and I'm on the Energy Subcommittee, and also on the Select Committee on Energy, Environment, Global Warming. So we spend a good bit of time working on the energy and the energy access issue and looking at finding a short-term, mid-range, and long-range strategy to that. Another area where I spend a good bit of my time is on the issue of healthcare. I'm on the Healthcare Subcommittee, and there again, we are making certain that we preserve access to healthcare for individuals and that we preserve the doctor-patient relationship. Another area that I put quite a bit of energy into does relate to our nation's creators and intellectual property and the right to retain ownership of the product that you create and ownership of that product as it moves into the global marketplace with trade. And our entertainers and our creators, pharmaceutical, our new medicines, our biotechnologies, make certain that they can all retain ownership of what they create. That is a constitutional right, right to private property, right to what you create, and so I spend a good bit of time on intellectual property law and trade issues that relate to